The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Welcome to Gate City Chronicles. I'm Kevin Avard, your host, and today we're going to be talking about the great American downtown. And my guest here is Paul Shea, and you were on the show about a year ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Last April, we were. I was up here with you, and it was just as I started in my new role with Great American Downtown. So it was kind of an exciting little time. So I was very glad to be here. Glad to be here again.
Yeah. Well, welcome back. I had to have you back on because I constantly see these updates and these notices from Paul Shea. Hey, what's going on? Hey. So, I'm getting all these messages. I'm not sure everybody in town is, but if they're not, I wanted to make sure that you come on the show to talk about
Thank you very much.
what's happening in Nashua.
Yeah, we've got a Facebook page that just hit 6,000 connections on there, and our e-newsletter goes out to about 4,000 people. So we've got a pretty big audience to communicate what's going on downtown, which is a key part of what we've been doing, and it's been good. It's a lot of fun, kind of highlighting all of the great stuff that's going on.
Yeah, one of the recent successes. It's actually it was on the other Chronicles show.
The other Chronicles show.
The other anyway,
Yeah.
The other Chronicles show. Anyway, with the pianos downtown.
Yeah. So we partnered with North Main Music to produce this program this year, as well as Positive Street Art, City Arts Nashua.
Yep.
A number of great sponsors. We've got. Can I rattle those off real
Sure,
quick?
absolutely.
So Eaton and Berube was a big sponsor. Nautical Gin, the Peddler's Daughter, Fort Engage, the Nashua Dog Park. Those are the top tier ones, and then about a 15 other community members or businesses supported the project. But we put 2 pianos out on Main Street. One is down in Bicentennial Park by the Main Street Bridge. The other one is up by the Nashua Bank building, across the corner from Fratello's.
Okay.
And
Yep.
And so those have been a big hit. We were talking earlier. It's been above and beyond what I could have expected as far as a response from the community. We had about 300 people come out for the unveiling of them. So I think it's definitely a program that we're going to continue to support, going into next year, and perhaps even bring 1 or 2 more online. That's something that folks have asked for. If we could bring a couple more on, it would be nice.
How are they doing with all the weather?
So we have the pianos. As a musician, you must know pianos are a pretty sensitive instrument to humidity and all that. And so we actually have a gentleman come out, Frank Nelson from Frank Nelson's Piano Tuning. He comes out every other week to tune them up. So they get attended to very well. Weather permitting, he's out there, on the money and tuning them up, and they've responded really well. We also make sure to cover them up. So Sweeney Metal Fabricators and Rapid Finishing produced a frame. Stadium Graphics produced a really nice cover for them. So whenever the rain's coming, we make sure to cover them up, because humidity is one thing, but
it's huge.
Getting waterlogged is a whole other one.
Yeah,
so.
both are big. But so you have people stopping up and just doing the tickling the ivories or whatever they're called these days.
And that was one of the other things that surprised me too, is how much talent is out there. So there's you'll be out on the street. Chances are that at least one of the pianos will be played by somebody who, lo and behold, actually knows what they're doing. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. It's a nice addition, and it's a great idea. It definitely brings a homey atmosphere to downtown, and people just sing off the cuff. They go right by and play and sing, and
Yeah, and there's
that cannot be a bad thing.
no, not at all. And like the difference between walking down a main street that has road noise versus one that has music that's being improvised, it's a completely different feeling.
Yeah.
I think it really lends well to the experience of being downtown for sure.
Fantastic. Well, it's a great idea. There are other events that are coming up. You have the farmers market.
Yeah, so the farmers market is something that we've been working really hard on. The market, when I came on to Great American Downtown, had about 6 to 8 vendors on any given week. What we've done over the past year and a half is grown the market to 32 vendors as it stands.
I was going to ask you to rattle some off. But,
yeah, and so it's a long list. But we've got everything from, of course, fresh local fruits and veggies. We've got a bean producer. We've got a potato producer. All New Hampshire or northeastern Massachusetts grown. We've got, let's see, bakeries, all varieties of bakeries. We've got bread. We've got French pastry. We've got donuts. We've got
any wines?
So we're working on that. So as you may know, the state of New Hampshire passed a law that permitted the sale and sampling of beer and wines at farmers markets.
Jeez,
Did you have anything to?
Just a little.
Yeah. Do you support that? I hope so.
Of course.
Oh, good. and so
just a little bit unfair.
Yeah, and so that's really exciting because it allows local producers to bring things directly to market, which is nice.
We've got a couple of vineyards local, Volcino's and LaBelle.
Yeah, Fulcino's and LaBelle. We're starting off with a smaller vineyard, which is Loyal Dog Winery. I've been looking at some of their products. One of them is pretty interesting. It's an apple raisin wine. And the other vendor that we're hoping to have start on the second weekend in August will be Millyard Brewery.
Okay.
And so they're the new brewery downtown. They've got a nice tasting room, and you can go there to check them out, but soon you'll be able to check them out at the Nashua Farmers Market. There's a little bit of ironing out that we're working on because it's a brand new piece of legislation, unprecedented as far as the procedure for approvals and all that business. So, second, third week in August is likely when things will get running with that. But it's really nice, and I'm hopeful that in the month of September we'll be able to bring on at least 2 more vendors.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So is it all sold out, or are there people still signing up for that?
Yeah, so we have a rolling admission, so to speak, for the market. Of course, I seek to maintain a balance of products. With a market of this size, I wouldn't want 2 soap vendors or things like that. But as we grow, there may be some duplication of products. But for now, yes, we're definitely taking on new vendors. We are seeking vendors in a couple of product categories, mostly proteins. It's a challenge with finding the way through both the state and federal regulations. For example, with chicken, there's no real kind of a USDA, from what I understand, a USDA regulation that applies to small chicken producers. And so the state likes to see things be up to USDA standards, but if there aren't any, that becomes a gray area. And so kind of working through that stuff.
How are you doing all this? Are you doing it by yourself? You must have staff.
So I have staff. We've got one person who's been with us since I started. It's Deb Sutton. She's part-time. We recently took on a couple more part-time staff members to support the farmers market. We have a market day coordinator, Jen Miller, and Basil Mansfield. He was a volunteer for us before. Is now a part-time staffer. He comes to set up the market. He also does some of the monitoring of the Adirondack chairs that we have downtown, as well as making sure the pianos are covered, in the off hours where the business stewards aren't able to do so. But as far as figuring out all of this stuff, the internet is a very useful tool. It can also be a terrible, terrible thing. But it's a very useful tool, and so trying to figure these things out, figuring out who I need to talk to get the right answers, as long as you know where to find the answers, even if you don't have them, it ends up turning out okay, and that's one of the
How's
things
Mayor
I live
Donchis
by.
helping out? He must be doing a great job with this.
He has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, from everything from support for the holiday stroll, support for holiday lighting, which is something that now that the trees have been replaced downtown, the lighting that was kind of semi-permanently built into them, it's time to get that stuff up and running. So the city put forward additional funding for holiday lighting this year, and the mayor's office has been generally supportive.
Yeah, he came to my Music Matters, and I was very grateful. He kept his word, so that was very nice. We raised some money for kids with instruments, so that was. We hope to do it again.
Yeah, I heard you raise about $6,000.
$6,000.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
fantastic.
And 2 schools will split it. Maybe we're going to try it again in October, hopefully, and maybe give some of the other schools a shot at it as well. But I think if you put an instrument in a kid's hands, maybe we'll be the northern, music center instead of Tennessee.
Yeah, and speaking of music, we've been talking with the mayor's office in recent weeks about bringing about some sort of music festival downtown, which is something that would be fantastic to have. It's the music scene is growing in Nashua, but it's something that could definitely use some encouragement and more folks supporting its growth. So that is another thing that we're kind of working on. It's my hope that in the next couple of weeks we'll find out that there's support from the Board of Aldermen on an item to make that possible.
Yeah.
Which would be in partnership with Riverwalk Cafe. Ben Ruddick is the one of the owners managers over there. He does the music programming and works in tech, and I'm really excited about the possibility of partnering with them to really bring in some good regional acts for this.
Yeah.
And you'll have to check out downtownnashua.org in the next couple of weeks and see if we've got that in the pipeline. But I'm hopeful that for the weekend of September 24th, 25th, we'll have something special happening.
Hey, if you can fit in a senator that sings, I'd really appreciate it.
Okay.
I love to sing, and I'm cheap.
We have some now. Can you play the piano and sing, or are you a guitar singer?
I'm a guitar, saxophone player, singer.
Do you have like a PA, all that? I assume so, right? Let me know, 'cause regardless of whether or not that comes off, I'd be glad to have you at the farmers market one weekend.
Yeah, being a little lace up your sleeve.
Okay.
We got some really good musicians, everything from big band to jazz, so
Cool.
and rock. But moving right along, I mean, I asked you off camera, you enjoying this, and there was a sparkle in your eye, like, yeah, this is great.
I couldn't be happier. I went to Rivier for nursing, and that was really rewarding work, but it wasn't hitting the mark for me personally, and just building up to being kind of, I guess, eligible for this role, and then being in this role has been, endless reward.
You're connecting
rewarding.
people with events, and that's got to be a blast.
And making culture happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have the obviously the great the farmers market. What's another event? You had mentioned a couple other things that are going on.
Yeah, so we have the farmers market that runs through October 16th every Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. down on the Main Street Bridge. We also, coming up, we're going to have a new fall restaurants promotion, and that will be the Eat Local Fall Food Festival. This will be kicking off with the Farmer's Dinner, which just sold out this week. So don't get your hopes up. But next year, maybe we'll do a
60
bigger and
sales,
better.
60.
225 tickets.
Wow.
In
60 hours.
60 hours, yeah.
Wow.
And so that was a fantastic response. That's I believe a 6-course plated farm-to-table dinner right on Main Street. Which is in partnership with the Farmer's Dinner, which is a company that does these events. They just had an event out at the Temple Wilton Community Farm, which pushed that farm over their fundraising goal for to buy the farm and put it into conservation, which is fantastic. So great company. The Farmer's Dinner, so that'll be happening, the Main Street Farmer's Dinner. The Eat Local Fall Food Festival will be a restaurants promotion that will have downtown restaurants featuring dishes with locally produced ingredients. It's peak harvest season, mid-September into early October in New Hampshire. So there'll be no shortage of great products to use, and it'll be a great opportunity for chefs to kind of show off their chops. And we've got an increasingly just a growing body of great chefs downtown.
It's certainly built into this whole concept of community. Nashua has a lot of outreach programs to helping people, and these are the other things that helps bring another, glues the community together. It's amazing how the quality of life in Nashua is, and it's organizations like what you're doing.
Thank you.
Really helps bring it together, and it's actually exciting. Hey, what's going on this week downtown? You know, it's, you know, you can look around the state, and there are other towns that you drive through, and you go, oh, you know, something happened here 100 years ago. But Nashua's alive.
Yeah, and like you were saying, you get emails from me all the time.
Yeah, I do.
And so we on a weekly basis, although it's been with the Knights going into the playoffs and the Farmers Dinner near selling out, we wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. I think you probably got 3 or 4 at least from me this past week. But we typically send out a weekly e-newsletter called The Downtowner. It has, you know, anywhere between 5 and 9, sometimes 10, although we try not to make it too lengthy. Community events and things that are happening.
And that's through email?
Yeah, and so if people go to downtownnashua.org, there's a sign-up form for the e-newsletter, and yeah, it's a great resource, because in my mind, when I started this, we had a list of about 2,200 folks that had signed up for our newsletter. For me, you know, we could pay for all the Facebook advertising in the world, but if we can cultivate, you know, a following in the community for downtown events, then that will be, you know, far more valuable than trying to pay for ads to highlight what's going on. If you produce content that's good, that people will want, then you won't have to pay to get it to them.
Right.
Of course, we have our subscription to the newsletter thing, but it's not like we're overextending ourselves to get it out there.
Are you still taking on more people to sponsor you, or is
Yeah,
that?
yeah, for sure. So the newsletter sponsorship, we offer that. We have, let's see, I hope I don't forget anybody. We've got.
You mentioned Burraby up there on Concord Street, right?
Yes. Yep.
They're-
Yeah, and they've consolidated their offices downtown, which I was happy to see, because I know that they've got an office out at Milford, and they've got a long history in town. So
Are they insurance? What?
yeah, so they're an insurance agency. They help set folks up with products that are, you know, right for them from multiple insurance providers.
Right.
And so they're great to work with. But for the newsletter, we've got Triangle Credit Union, Clock Tower Place, Broadside Collision, and
Are they on Clinton?
Beckoning's gift shop from down on Main Street. But that's a quarterly sponsorship. If anybody's interested in that, it goes out to our 4,000 subscribers at least weekly. And it's a great opportunity to kind of highlight yourself as a partner with Great American.
And it does help out with the community. I mean, these are the events that really bring people together.
Yeah, and the more that more people that know about more things, the more opportunities people have to connect. Yeah.
So we covered a couple bases. Any more other events that's coming up towards the fall?
So let's see. So we're working on that. One of the other things we're working on, the Gate City Community Gardens organization, which was founded by a group of folks in town as a New Hampshire nonprofit corporation, has elected to become a program of Great American Downtown. This program operates a 12-bed community garden over on the Nashua Heritage Rail Trail. We're seeking to expand that by 16 beds. So if rewarding community service activity is somebody's thing, that might be a great opportunity.
Like Honor Society students?
Yeah, Honor Society students. I think we've got some folks from the United Way joining us. Hopefully the green team from the high school will be able to come out. And so we're looking to build these additional 16 beds. They're 4-foot by 8-foot beds that allow people an opportunity to kind of connect with nature, and it's not a large, it's an easily manageable space for folks that are trying to exercise their green thumb. So that's coming up. Timeline for that is still up in the air as far as the build goes. We've got some new lights coming in the rail trail, some hardwired lights. The solar ones didn't really pan out so well. They kind of peter out around an hour or two after the sun goes down. They haven't been charging efficiently. So So that'll be nice, and we'll be kind of working our timeline around that. And yeah, so that's one thing that's coming up. Keep an eye out for next year. We'll have applications out to take on new gardeners for that.
Cool.
What else is, of course, the winter holiday stroll.
We'll have you on again to talk about that
Sure.
if necessary.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's refreshing. It's nice to see. I keep getting these notices, and I think, you got to come on the show. And it'd be nice if you could take advantage of the billboard for, Access Nashua, because some people don't have computers, obviously. And this is one of the ways that they can figure out what's going on in town, and obviously you're adding to that quality of life. Now, we talked about Positive Street Art for a second. What are they up to?
So Positive Street Art has the Downtown Art Fest, and without my calendar in my hand, it's the weekend of, I believe, September 18th. So Downtown Art Fest will be on a Sunday. It's a large-scale event that involves a DJ battle, a live art battle, dancing. There'll be all sorts of vendors and other entertainment. And so that takes place just after the farmers market on that day down in Renaissance Park. So you can come down, load up on your local produce, drop it off, come on back, and enjoy some local culture. That's usually attended by at least 800 to 1,000 people. So it's a really fun time, lots of creativity and expression, but that's coming up. You can find them at positivestreetart.org for more info on that event.
That's Manny Ramirez and
Cecile. So Manny Ramirez, Cecilia Ubari, Tom Lopez. There's a large group of folks that are involved with that, and so they all put that on. They're a 501c3. They've got all their ducks in a row, which is really good to see, and yeah, great programming this year. I would say that they've put up at least 5, if not 6, murals over the course of the summer.
In Nashua?
In Nashua.
Really?
Yeah, so they've done a series of murals called Hearts and Minds, and the series is dedicated to the city's veterans. If you go down Water Street, you can see 4 of the murals coming down from Clock Tower Place. So one of them is a big American flag mural that's on the lower side of the ramp. There were some tags that were up there, and that's where the Delena's House, Veterans Housing program is. And so it was like, kind of derogatory stuff. They wanted something that folks could feel good about. Positive, yeah, positive street art. So they did that as the kind of the starter for that mural. There's also a mural of a fighter plane, a mural of a bald eagle, and also a mural of the 5 of the military SEALs, all along a long wall in the Water Street parking lot. So that's all. Yeah, it's a really good program, and I think that they're going to kind of cap that off with a film screening for vets, an outdoor movie on September 17th. And I don't think that they've picked the movie, or they just picked it last night. But again, if you go to their website, positivestreetart.org, you'll be able to find info on all that stuff. Yeah, so that's really exciting.
Another local success story. We've interviewed them maybe a year ago, a little over a year ago.
Yep.
Maybe a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and they've grown quite a bit. It's been really impressive. What else is going on?
I don't know. You're the boss here.
Let's see. Oh, don't tell me that. No, so let's see.
You talked about the Silver Knights. You talked about the farmers market, the great the winter stroll, Positive Street Art. We have the pianos.
Yeah. City Arts Nashua has the Art Walk coming up in October. It's a little ways out, but that's something to keep an eye out for. They have hired an Art Walk coordinator this year, and so it should be a really impressive event. They've also been working on a program called Art Ventures, which has been pretty exciting right now, and I think through August at least. One of the projects that they've worked on is called Totem Poems. It's with kids from the Elm Street School. They wrote poetry, mounted it on boards, and they've all been mounted to a very large structure by the Hunt Memorial Building. So it's pretty neat to see kind of the youth perspective through poetry in that project. They did a temporary public art project in the spring, and I think that they're going to be working on a couple of other projects over the course of the next year as part of the Art Ventures thing. But
Are things still happening at the library?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and the library, they've got their Thursday night concert series. I don't know what it runs and when it runs until, but they've always got great bands. There's usually about 200 people that bring their lawn chairs, sit out on the plaza.
It's cool to watch.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. The first time that I was at one of those, I was walking to a rehearsal for my wife for actor-singers, and I was just stunned by how many people came out.
There's an amazing amount of talent, isn't there?
Yeah. Speaking of my wife, she might not be too happy if I forget to tell you that Actors Singers has a production of Bat Boy coming up, which is pretty exciting. And now I'm in trouble because I can't remember the date of it. But if you go to
Gotta look at
yeah,
point
Actors,
something.
Actor Singers, ACTORSINGERS.org. All the info's up there. I believe it's the, I want to say it's the 21st, 22nd.
But you can find all that information at the website.
Yep, yeah, which is, that's a horror comedy musical about the World Weekly News story about Bat Boy. And it's really a hoot. There's like a whole plot around the Bat Boy and his origin and how he's trying to fit into society, and it's pretty funny.
And where will that be playing?
So that'll be at the Court Street Theater, so 14 Court Street. For folks who like things like the Rocky Horror Picture Show or Little Shop of Horrors, that'd be right up their alley.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So how do people get in touch with you or to find out, again, what's the website?
So the website is downtownnashua.org, and I've also failed to mention we've just rolled out a central downtown community events calendar. And so we're bringing on about a dozen partners, the theater groups, the Nashua Public Library. We're going to have a central calendar that people can go and find stuff for once, which will be fantastic. But they can reach us at downtownnashua.org. We're on Facebook, Great American Downtown, Twitter and Instagram at Downtown Nashua, and my email is paulwshea@downtownnashua.org if anybody wants to reach out to me directly.
Wonderful. And thanks for coming on the
Yeah,
show.
thank you very
Thanks for
much.
everything that you're doing. It's a great addition to the community. If you want to be involved, if you want to know what's going on, check out the website. And if you have a story, if you have something to offer the community and you want to share, contact me at gatecitychronicles@gmail.com. Until next week, thanks for watching. Thank you for watching Gate City Chronicles. And we want to thank our sponsor, Aardvark Cleaning. They've been a sponsor for quite a few years now, and we appreciate them being a sponsor. And if you want to be a guest on our show, contact accessnashua@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your story. Until next week, thanks for watching.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.